This is a podcast all about Bears. You either cheering for this team or just pulling your hair. I like to take a minute, just sit right back and tell you how I became the #1 Bears fan.
That boy is Benny Hunter.
Cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Antelope is where I spend most of my days. You talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Before I get this episode started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content around the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But before I continue with today's episode, I have to tell you guys about LinkedIn. These days, everyone knows that it can be really hard to find and hire the right candidate for your very small business or any business in general. That's exactly why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find people that you want to talk to faster and for free. And Bears fans, I wouldn't lie to you. If I was a boss, I would definitely go to LinkedIn Jobs because I would be able to find the right candidate that would fit my needs of my business. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the right candidate. And Bears fans, did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? You know what? I can actually use LinkedIn Jobs right now to actually get some help for this podcast. And I know that I would be able to find the right candidate with LinkedIn Jobs. All you have to do is post your job for free at linkedin.com/Wendy. That's linkedin.com/Wendy to post your job for free. So, Bears fans, in a report just the other day, and before I give you guys this huge report that came out of Chicago by NFL Insider, I just want you guys to take a seat for a second because this almost ruined my day. Because the NFL Insider that broke this news is legit. So, according to Ian Rappaport, he made it very clear on NFL Now that the Bears have not made their final decision on Matt Nagy. I'm absolutely fucking mind blown right now that this is even a thing. Here we are as Bears fans thinking, you know what? There's absolutely no way that Matt Nagy is going to be the Chicago Bears coach going into next year. And then all of a sudden, Ian Rappaport, which Ian Rappaport doesn't lie. He doesn't spread rumors. He just spreads straight facts and the straight truth. Ian Rappaport comes out and tells us that the Bears have not made their final decision. This is what he had to say. A firm and final decision has not been made, said Ian Rappaport on NFL Now. It sounds based on Nagy's words, like at least they will look at the entire product of 4 complete years before making a decision on which way to go for the next head coach. You know, and we knew this, that the Chicago Bears don't fire mid-season, and it's looking like that's going to be the case this year as well. Even though the Bears had the opportunity to start interviewing for their next head coach, which is a new rule in the NFL this year that you can start interviewing potential head coaching candidates the last 2 weeks of the year. You see the Jacksonville Jaguars doing it. But obviously, the Bears don't give a crap about our feelings as fans. They're just doing their own thing, tooting to their own horn. And this is what Ian Rappaport has to give us. So it's very disappointing because I'm not sure if the ownership is looking at the same product that we have to witness every Sunday. And it's terrible. We all know that Matt Nagy is not the right guy. But since the Chicago Bears want to look at the past 4 years and look at the full product of Matt Nagy, I'm going to throw some stats for the McCaskies and for you guys listening to the podcast. Let's start off with Matt Nagy's record as a Chicago Bears head coach, which is 33-30, 0-2 in the postseason. And let's just throw in, for the purposes of hopefully the McCaskies somehow see this video, probably not, he's 1-7 against Green Bay. And the reason why I want to point this out is because the McCaskies, when they hire their head coaches, they make it very clear that you need to beat Green Bay. Obviously, according to Matt Nagy's record against Green Bay, 1-7, he hasn't gotten that done. So just his record against Green Bay alone should get his ass fired. So that's one. Let's look at his offensive stats in the last 4 years, since the McCaskey family wants to look at the full 4-year product of Matt Nagy's coaching days as the Chicago Bears head coach. 2018, they were 20th in total offense. Obviously, that was their highest mark, and a lot of that has to do with how good the Chicago Bears defense was that year. And what I mean by that is that the Chicago Bears defense scored a lot of points for the Chicago Bears offense. 2019, they were 29th in total offense. 2020, they were 22nd in total offense. And in 2021, this season, they're 23rd in total yards, 32nd in passing yards, 28th in total points, and 29th in third down percentage. So, all in all, over the past 4 years as Matt Nagy being the head coach and offensive coordinator, the offense has struggled in the red zone. They have struggled on third down. And overall, they have struggled to execute. My point for this podcast is that Matt Nagy's offense does not work, and Matt Nagy is not the right guy to lead the Chicago Bears franchise. So when you really look at Matt Nagy's stats as the Chicago Bears head coach, I don't know what's taking the McCaskey so long. Are you okay with being mediocre? Because by the looks of it, that's what you are telling the Chicago Bears fan base. McCaskey's, it's really not that hard. The proof is in the pudding. Just look at his stats over the last 4 years. He hasn't gotten it done. And the only reason why his record is at 33-30 is because how good our defense has been. And everyone knows that. So I don't know why it's so hard for them to say, you know what? Look, Matt Nagy, it has not worked for you here. Thank you for your time, but it's time for you to get the hell out of Chicago. So obviously, you guys can tell I'm a little bit worked up over this because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being mediocre. I'm tired of finding these bum head coaches that can't get it done. McCaskey family, get this right and start by firing Matt Nagy. It's that simple. It hasn't worked for him. It's time to move on. So, like always on all these podcasts, comment down below and let me know how you guys feel about Ian Rappaport's report about the Bears not really knowing what direction they want to go with Matt Nagy. Let's talk about it in the comment section. But before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. And make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go